Well, back to our top story to do with economist Dr. Edu Susako. They're kicking against the implementation of the Bank of Ghana's zero financing policy, saying that there has to be a level or some level of Bank of Ghana funding, if you like, for government expenditure. Join us on Zoom to react to this, Professor John Gachi, Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School. Appreciate your time with us. Good afternoon to you. So, where do you stand on this topic of zero financing of government budget by the Bank of Ghana?
Well, thank you. Well, there is no way in a developing country like ours that you should accept zero financing of government activities. In the past, we were using about 10% of previous year tax revenue, but that was revised by the IMF program that we had in 2015, and that program was insistent that we should have zero financing. But in the wisdom of Parliament of Ghana, they decided that, okay, let us slash it by half to make it 5%. So I do not think that we have to go to zero financing of government activities by the central bank. But the issue has to do with whether we show fidelity to our own laws. We have been violating the provisions, and that is why the problem is. And in the current instance that we're talking about, the violation is just so alarming and mind-boggling to accept. And again, if we are not able to show fidelity to our own provisions of the law, and that will allow inroad into central bank activities unnecessarily, and that will be undermining the independence of the central bank.
I mean, I think this call is coming because of people are pushing it because of what we've seen happen last year, where the Bank of Ghana posted a record loss of almost 61 billion Ghana cedis. Earlier, we heard from former Finance Minister Tekpe, who questioned the ability of the central bank to conduct effective banking supervision because of this. But we've also heard from the IMF, which has also downplayed some of these concerns, saying that what we saw happen last year would not affect the central bank's ability to carry out its policy mandate. You agree?
I do not agree, because every policy mandate has an outcome. So central bank has been able to carry out its mandate over the period. So let's take from 2022 December up to today. Exchange rate was 6 cedis to the dollar, but today we are talking about 11.5 Ghana cedis. Inflation was near single digit, but we are talking of inflation around 43%. Interest rate was around 14%. That's talking about the policy rate, but now we're talking about 30%. And the lending rate, you can imagine what it is. So has the central bank been able to perform its mandate effectively and to the appreciation of the economy? That is a question. So if you say your financial records is not directly related to your ability to perform your mandate, that is to underplay the essence of financial report. Financial reports give us the financial health of the institutions and the ability of the institution to be in going concern. And if you look at the audit report, the audit report was concerned whether the Bank of Ghana can be a going concern entity, whether the Bank of Ghana can be able to service its liabilities when they fall due, because we are talking about a kind of insolvency, because the total liability is more than total assets. And again, we are talking about negative equities. If a financial institutions like a central bank, a regulator, has both deeper losses and at the same time a negative equity, that call for concern. So we cannot wish away this matter. Of course, it is the activities of the central bank that allow the IMF to come, so the IMF can give support. Of course, it is very clear that it is lending excessively to government that caused the problem we're talking about. So I'm not sure the IMF is saying something so different. IMF is not patting the central bank on the back for violating. If that is the case, the IMF will not be pressing for zero financing. So the statement of the IMF has nothing to do with whether the central bank has been able to obey the laws, have been able to stay focused. But it is true that they have lent excessively to government, and through the debt exchange program, that has had an effect on their the books.
Right. Indeed, the IMF expects the Bank of Ghana's net equity to improve significantly over time and eventually return to a positive territory. And so, again, while that is good news, we haven't done much. And like you say, the IMF hasn't pushing for it to ensure the independence of the central bank. So how do we prevent a repeat of what we saw last year?
I think that should not be coming from the IMF. That should be coming from the managers of the central bank. That's what we are expecting, that they should come out and give us the roadmap, that we believe that negative equity will turn around. We believe that we'll reduce it by this percentage or this amount by the end of this year. By the end of next year, we will reduce it by this amount. So you assure the public that you are able to do something to turn the things around, to make it positive. But the explanation by the Bank of Ghana is so insulting, so arrogant, that I don't think we can bear that. Nobody is saying that an entity cannot make a loss and turn around. But making such a huge loss in 1 year, you need to actually explain it very well and to assure the stakeholders the program you put in place to ensure that this will not occur again. And that is what the central bank is lacking. And the IMF could not be the spokesperson for the central bank.
I just want to turn attention to the IMF program as we still have some time. The latest update on external debt restructuring is that Ghana is now expected to finalize modalities with the official creditor committee to pave way for the restructuring. It is said to be the last level of engagement, so it appears we may be on track to getting a deal on external debt restructuring. And looking at the progress we've made with the domestic debt restructuring as well, looks good, doesn't it?
Well, normally external debt restructuring is a good news because it has no effect on your economy. So if that happens, it's a good news. But of course, that will not erase the challenges of Ghana. The restructured debt, whether we are in position to repay, is a question of time.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor John Gachie. Good to speak with you. It's been a while. Now.